Welcome back, Flare community. I hope you're all well and having an incredible start to the week. Apologies for the intro. There is no dancing astronaut today. Something's going on with some of the equipment that I use, but don't worry, we adapt, we overcome, and yeah, it's time for the weekly news roundup. So the first thing that we're going to do is actually just check in here on the FTSO Statistics. This one is for Flare. And if we scroll down here, we're going to have a quick peek at the top 5. We've got Lena Instruments leading the charge in first place. In second place, we have Solarius. In third place, we have Flare.space. In fourth place, we have Flare Ocean. And in fifth place, FTSO London. Let's have a quick switch up on Songbird and see what's going on over there. Wait for it to load a second. Who we got in the house? Smart Life Crypto. We've got Professor, TRT, Send Your Stake. We've got Crypto Granny, The Legend. We've got Michael, Anna, Death Ranger, Virgil, Steve Lee, Walter. Yeah, all the usual crew. Here we go. So let's quickly scroll down here and let's see who's performing best on Songbird. Give it a second. There we go. So we've got Fly to Sonic in first place. I've never actually heard of them. Second place, we have Flare Beacon. And in third place, Best FTSO. Fourth place, Flare Ocean. And in fifth place, Solarius. So these two are actually in the top 5 on both networks. Shout out to FTSO. Just almost got the reputation of being in them both. But yeah, pretty interesting. I'm going to have a quick peek at the NFTs before we jump into the news. This is on Sparkles, and this is the 7-day volume. Topping the charts, we have S-Toads. In second place, we have the Loyaltists collection. That's by Enosis, formerly known as FLR Finance. In third place, we have the Fat Kittens, which is part of the Fat Cats project. And in fourth place, we have the Minerals. Fifth place is the Luxury Lofts. Again, this is a project by the S-Toads crew. This is actually pretty interesting. So I said something big is coming to Songbird City. Stay tuned. X-Toads times Flare community. Many of you know that the Kingsman, who runs the project, or is one of the co-founders, we actually have been talking quite a bit behind the scenes, and there is something going on. Many of you know about this building that I'm going to get, and it was sort of towards to do with what this building is actually going to be, what it's going to contain. And I put forth a proposal on a very interesting idea, and I was a bit skeptical whether the team would actually approve it. And yeah, it seems like it's feasible, so that's something that I'm very excited about. I guess you're just going to have to wait and see, because I think that's going to be shelved into the black box for quite some time, but it will be released eventually. We've got the Fat Cats here, who announced that their volume traded across the Fat Cats collections, so that's a combination of all of the collections, has just breached a huge milestone at just over $1 million US. That is a huge achievement, and I believe that they're the first NFT collection to actually achieve this. Although they do have 4, it's still quite the figure, $1 million US. So yeah, congratulations to them. We have some big news, or I guess like a reminder to come out, and that is with Flare Network staking. That is coming, and we have the recent or the upcoming proposal, FIP01, Flare Improvement Proposal, and this is for staking infrastructure, limits, and rewards. And these are the main changes: implementing necessary infrastructure services. We've got the modification of the current staking limits and increasing the portion of inflation destined to validation rewards. So this inflation of FLR, it's always going to remain the same like as a whole. So this is going to be pinched from the delegation rewards, I believe. If you want to have a quick peek at it here, this is what it looks like. It's actually quite a short document, but if you do want to get a little bit more detail, you can actually have a peek at the governance repository here by following the link. We also have this as well, which goes into the full staking processes as another document that you can find on their website. It's flare.network, and it talks about everything the 3 different phases about staking. And again, this is more referring to the initial phase, but we're hoping to get some more details about staking phases 2 and 3 when us as active participants can actually start staking FLR, and yet again providing another way on how we can earn rewards. Another update, FIP04, that's Flare Improvement Proposal 04, introduced a new price, or many new price pairs, for the FTSO, the Flare Time Series Oracle. So as you can see, this is slowly becoming more and more of an absolute beast. We know that Flare have a really strong focus on providing data as a public good. That seems like one of their taglines going forward. And as we can see here from Hugo, he actually says that, 3 minutes is just an MVP. That's a minimal viable product. So, 3 minutes, this is talking about the epoch time on or of the FTSO, right? Each 3 minutes, each epoch, the prices are decided upon, via this decentralized system. Hugo says that they're looking at scalability options to allow for thousands of prices with the potential to update every single block to be presented in a future governance update. So this is very powerful stuff here. Thousands of price series, so that's maybe prices of assets, maybe it's inflation prices, maybe it's house marketing prices, who knows what it could be, but that's their ambitions to scale up to 1,000 individual price series and to update every single block. And if we look on the Flare network, I believe the blocks are somewhere between 1 and 3 seconds. Very impressive, and sort of just going a little bit further and solidifying their top spot as the best oracle in the space. For those who want to work for the Flare network, you can actually apply for some jobs over here. It's Flare network /categories/careers. There are some jobs available for anyone interested, and if you are a member of the community and have a good understanding of how Flare works, then it's definitely going to put you in good stead if you were to apply for these jobs. Moving on, this is Pixel Chain Games, Pico. They're getting closer to their pay-to-play win game, and this is all about playing with various cards. They got this interesting style going on. It's like pixel art, right? This is something that I'm particularly excited about. I've seen some sneak peeks on what they've been working on, and yeah, it looks very interesting. You can follow them at Pixel Chain Games if you are interested. I'm pretty hopeful to see some more games on the Flare network. There's obviously the Pixel Plants project as well, created by none other than community legend Doc Bob D. Shout out to you. And yeah, hopefully we'll see some more games coming too. Right, we're going to do a bit of an Enosis wrap up here. So well, let's pull that back. Simple staking is now available on the Songbird network. So you may be wondering what simple staking is. It basically allows you to use one asset to enter a dual liquidity pool. And it basically sells 50% of this one asset, and you enter this pool with 2 tokens, and then when you exit, you can select which asset you want to receive on the other end. So it's a way to simplify the staking process. But just bear in mind, this actual process of going through the simple staking does incur a fee, right? So if you are providing liquidity with large amounts, it's recommended that you do it manually. You're going to save some money that way. But if you're just sort of testing the waters, or for users who may not be so experienced, simple staking is a great option. Something else that is, I don't think they mention it on this particular thread here, but anyone that uses simple staking, I said before that they are charged a fee for the privilege, and that fee, or a part of it, actually goes to the APY cloud. And this is something that I'm particularly excited about from Enosis. I'll definitely be doing videos on that once it's closer to launching. FTSO Au, they're actually supporting Enosis in many different ways, and they're sort of talking here about the validators that they're running, and this is to help facilitate the bridging facilities of Enosis. So shout out to FTSO, they are one of the sponsors of the channel, so if you are looking to delegate and you want to delegate to one of the best and most I guess the biggest builders in the space, you know, they've created a lot of different infrastructure. They've created Flare builders, Flare metrics, this, and they're obviously providing validation services to Enosis as well. So big shout out to FTSO Au. I guess still riding the DeFi train, stop being intimidated by the phrase impermanent loss, and instead start learning what it actually is. FTSO, the team here, they run a signal provider or a data provider. They have a great thread about this and give real world examples about some of the pools. This one here is the Songbird to the XFi liquidity pool, and this sort of breaks down impermanent loss, and it actually highlights that the impermanent loss that you incur is actually offset by the fees generated from providing the liquidity and charging the people that are using the DEX. An interesting read. I'd highly recommend you check it out. You can follow them at FTSO. You can find this post. It is pretty recent, the 27th of August. This is just a kind of a bit of a reminder. So, you know, Enosis, they've got different assets. They've launched on Flare. I guess they've technically launched on they've launched on Songbird, and I guess they've technically launched on the Flare network too with their bridge. But here are the assets that you need to know about. We've got Songbird, which is the native asset of Songbird, or SGB. We've got FLR, the Flare token, which is the native asset of the Flare network. And then you have these two governance tokens created by Enosis. On the Songbird side of things, you've got XFi and SFIN. And on this side, you've got Helion and Apsis, I believe. And Helion is akin to XFi, and Apsis is akin to SFIN. So just a bit of a reminder there. I'm keeping my eyes peeled on this particular contract here, or I guess issued asset on the Flare network. This is the Enosis US dollar tether, so EUSDT. Now, one thing that I'm keeping my eye on here is the actual liquidity, or the actual amount of, or the supply, should I say, of the bridged assets. This has been steadily climbing. It does seem to be slowing down right now, which is interesting. So maybe Enosis are going to incentivize people to bridge more by maybe potentially opening a pool. And the way that I'm looking out for that is by searching here for APS. That's the governance token that we just mentioned. APS is going to be rewarded for those who are supplying liquidity. So until APS has actually been created, we're not going to be able to, these pools are not going to be able to be launched, right? A reminder for all the Patreon members, if you are a Patreon member, you can download this 15-page document. This is the Enosis launch cheat sheet. This is my step-by-step guide about what I'm planning to do when the pools go live, what I'm planning to do now to prepare, and how I actually plan to accumulate the various assets that are associated with the Enosis platform, because it is going to be quite strategical. I've had great feedback from the people that have already viewed it, so you can get that free as a Patreon, and if you want to join, you can actually find a link to the Patreon in the description below. This sort of talks about, this is done by MJ Toads. He's created quite an interesting infographic here for those who may be wondering about the upcoming airdrop and the upcoming snapshot, or maybe the snapshot's occurred, we don't actually know yet. But this is basically about the Helion distribution, right? Currently, we know that it's going to be based off the XFi holdings. And, you know, if you buy XFi, you can get it from these centralized exchanges, and you get bonuses based on where you hold your XFi. So if you hold it in your wallet, you just get no bonus whatsoever. If you hold it in a single pool, you know, that's like the locked pools or even the unlocked pools where you're actually staking it on the Enosis platform, you get a 1.25 bonus. If you providing collateral, you get a 1.5 bonus, and in the dual pools you get a double bonus. And this is actually, it looks pretty attractive, but you know, in order to participate in these 2 token pools, you actually have to sell half of your XFi, or you know, it's sort of only half the amount. So this is probably your best bet from my opinion. But yeah, you get airdropped a percentage, and that goes into your wallet on the Flare side, and then from that you get this ongoing airdrop based on these variables here, both with Helion token and with XFi, and this goes on for the next 12 months. So yeah, pretty interesting. I'm pretty bullish on the Enosis platform in general, if you haven't already guessed. And yeah, this is me checking daily and patiently waiting for APS to appear on the Flare Network Explorer. And as I said, I'll be checking this every single day. Once I do find out, I will be sure to let people know, because that's when we can potentially, from that point, see the Enosis platform launch their DEX. Moving on here, this is quite interesting. It's something that a lot of people may not know, right? So when Enosis launched their initial DEX, we know that it's going to be with the US dollar pairing, and also Flare, right? But we're going to be rewarded in APS. That's the governance token, right? We're not going to be able to identify the APY, because this APS, it's not going to have a value until it's traded on the network and sort of traded against another asset. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, because the people that hold the APS when that pool actually opens are all the people that are supplying the liquidity for this particular pool. And I talk about all this in the cheat sheet. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to sort of devise strategies around this. Right, this is sort of just a safety precaution thing, right? Whenever interacting with a Web3 site, I always recommend using a burner account. If you run MetaMask, they're super easy to set up. You can just click on add a new wallet, or even use a mobile phone, which you know, that you might not have a wallet downloaded on. And you can use this account, this burner account, to mint NFTs or to experiment and dip your feet into different applications, right? You'd never want to expose your main account if you don't need to, right? If you've got a main account that holds, you know, 70% of your assets, you're putting it at risk every time you connect to a website that you're not familiar with. Now, granted, you've got the delegation services and things like that, and voting and governance, but these are all publicly available. They're publicly they're very transparent, because you can actually find them on the Explorer, all of the delegation contracts and whatnot, and they're developed by reputable people, right? The Flare team, or, you know, signal providers that you may be familiar with. But if you're trying to buy or mint a new NFT from a project you've never heard of, I'd highly recommend using a burner account. This is, before we wrap up, I guess a little small tangent on some XRP ledger news. The new Zahao white paper just dropped. This is a new I guess sidechain. It's a smart contract sidechain for the XRPL ecosystem, formerly referred to as hooks. This is created by the XRPL Labs team, along with Evernode and GateHub and some others too, Alloy Networks and another one too, who I'm not familiar with, but it is pretty interesting. And I'm looking at this from the sidelines, right? So before we jump onto my opinion of it, I thought it would be interesting to pose the question whether Evernode will suffer the same criticisms as Flare, because, you know, a lot of people within the community, in the XRP community, were saying that the XRP community was used because, you know, they was used for whatever marketing, and, you know, they airdropped an asset for free based on the XRP they hold. And, you know, I actually went through a lot of these comments, and it's funny because a lot of people are still pretty bitter. They don't like the fact that things changed, but from my perspective, change is good. Change is how you evolve, and in fact, you cannot evolve unless you are changing, right? I think things change from the better, for the better, from the initial launch of Flare. We got an additional asset, that's the Songbird network, a completely new network. We've been introduced to some novel protocols that wasn't necessarily there before. The F asset system's been remolded to diversify the collateral, which is great. The FTSO is planned to scale way beyond its initial capabilities. All of these things I personally think are good, and a lot of them come down to the governance votes. So we actually get to vote on them ourselves. So anyways, this is my final thoughts on the Zahao smart contract network. I'm actually pretty bullish on it. It looks pretty good. They've got some interesting value propositions, but here is the truth. So I won't be making any hasty decisions when it comes to burning XRP, because that's the, you burn XRP, it's got this burn to mint functionality where you get XRP plus on their network for every XRP that you burn. And, I'm not hooked on the idea of a one-way bridge. I was pretty proud of that pun right there. So I thought I would mention it. But yeah, it may not even be necessary, because within this network, when you connect your wallet, you do actually get a small amount of XRP plus as part of the activation process. So what I'm looking forward to are the applications that are deployed on the network and how they leverage what is available to bring something truly unique. They've touted the Hook sidechain, Zahao as this sort of network that has unlimited possibilities, and that's because it's not limited by the Ethereum virtual machine. So yeah, Zahao, I think that's how you say it. Is that how you say it? Yeah, right. Anyways, so until that day comes when we've got these interesting applications, I'm going to sit on the sideline and observe what is being built. I think that's the best way to go. Don't rush and burn everything that you have. Sort of see how this evolves, but still very exciting news in the XRP community as well. I'm keeping my eyes on this, and I'll keep you updated. Finally, before we wrap up, if anyone is coming to Apex, I'll be going, joined by someone in the audience. I don't know if they want to let people know that they're going, but I'll be going, and I'll be hopefully seeing them. But if you are planning on coming too, please do let me know, and maybe we can hook up in Amsterdam. Should be a lot of fun. Either way, I'll be keeping you updated on Twitter with everything that's going on. They have a lot of speakers, a lot of people that I'm looking forward to listening to, and I sort of really am intrigued about the XLS 30, and that's the AMM. So there's definitely some speakers on that. But anyways, I'll keep you updated. For those in the Patreon family, please feel free to come over to the Discord. Come right to the bottom here. We're going to have a good old chinwag in the Patreon call. And yeah, if you are holding one of the bronze NFTs, we're also looking at setting up the next poker match with obviously a big prize pool, as this is a paid event. You can find the tickets for this poker tournament at theflarecommunity.com/store. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Do enjoy the rest of your week, and until next time, I'm out.
We have liftoff.